Hello everyone, it's day 2 in my countdown to Christmas that, for some reason, I started on December 12th. Maybe I'm starting a new trend and next year you will see advent calendars with only 13 spots. Or maybe I'm just a slacker. I'll admit, it's the second one. Anyway, on with the show. Today we're making a web-lined garland for the tree and another Spider-Verse character ornament. And this time the featured character is Miguel, the Spider-Man from 2099. The instructions on how to make the ornament are in yesterday's video, which will be linked in the comments down below and in the video description. The only supplies I'm using different than yesterday are cloth-wrapped stem wire and acrylic craft paint, including Apple Barrel Bright Red, Folk Art Metallic Bright Red, Apple Barrel English Navy, and Delta Gleams Metallic Silver. I'm starting off with one of the clay balls I made yesterday that has been covered with a layer of Mod Podge so that the paint applies easier. The Hasbro Marvel Legends figure of Spider-Man 2099 has a gorgeous metallic blue finish that I'm going to try to replicate. I don't have any metallic blue paint though, so I'm going to try to make my own by adding 2 drops of metallic silver and then add in a few drops at a time of the English Navy paint until I have about the right shade of blue. Whenever I mix up my own shades of paint, I like to do so in a glass jar. That way I can put a lid on it when I'm done to give me some more time to work with the paint before it dries out. I've done this in the past when I repainted the orange on my Marvel Legends Tiger Shark's torso because a paint job on there was just so terrible. That paint was watered down unlike this one, but it remained usable in the jar for, it was at least a week. If you mix your paint in a palette, it will dry out quickly, and it's painful to try to match a custom mixed color later on, as I've learned the hard way. I can tell that I'm going to need to apply 2 layers of this blue to my ornament. While we're waiting on the paint to dry, we're going to move on to making the garland for the tree. I'm using some white cloth-wrapped stem wire I got from Joann Fabrics. This wire is also available at Hobby Lobby and on Amazon, and I'll put the Amazon product link in the video description and in the comments below. If you're trying to find this wire in a craft store, try checking near the fake flowers. I thought an appropriate garland for a Spider-Verse tree would be something that looked like the web lines that Spider-Man is always swinging around on. I can't take credit for this web line idea though. I first saw it made by Chris Happy Day Customs here on YouTube, and I'll put a link to his guide in the video description. I like to start with 2 pieces of the stem wire. You may think to just twist them together like you're closing up a bag of bread, but don't do that. Instead, you want to hold one wire steady and wrap the second one around the first. I vary the size of my loops and leave some areas untwisted so that the 2 wires will run parallel to each other. Once one of the wires gets noticeably shorter than the other, I switch them around and start wrapping the longer wire around the shorter piece and just work my way to the end. One problem with stem wire though is because it's covered with cloth, it's going to fray at the ends. I'm going to apply a coat of Mod Podge to both of the ends to help slow down the fraying. Once the glue is dry, I twist my 2 web lines together to make a longer garland, and I start draping it on the tree. This isn't going to be long enough though. Well, I'll just make another web line. Now that the paint on my spider ball is dry, I can start applying the red details of Miguel's mask. Again, this is going to take more than 1 coat. I start off with 2 coats of my bright red paint, and once those are dry, I'm going to apply the metallic red. You may be wondering why I just don't use the metallic red from the start. Well, this particular paint doesn't cover as well as the flat bright red, so starting with the flat paint makes this a lot faster. I think Miguel is my favorite spider character after Peter Parker, so it seems appropriate that he is the second ornament being made. I've been reading his new comic series where he's running around in the white costume, but I have physical copies of his first few issues from his 90s series that I got from a local comic book store that's now closed down. They had this huge sale where all the older comics were $1 each, but the thing is, they stored them down in the basement of their shop. and that building was built in like the early 1900s, so the basement was just as creepy as you can imagine, having rickety wooden stairs leading down, poorly lit, and a door that slammed shut when you entered. My friend turned to me and said, "This is where we're gonna die." It really did look like something from a horror movie. I'm completely off topic now, but I guess Spider-Man 2099 and creepy basements are now forever associated in my mind. Once the paint is dry again, I'm covering everything with a layer of Mod Podge to protect my paint from chipping. This may look terrible right now, but don't worry, Mod Podge dries clear. And after that Mod Podge is dried, I'm going to make the hook for my ornament out of a head pin. I'm going to try to do a little bit of a different twist above the ornament than yesterday's, just to see how it looks. And then take the very end of your wire with the pliers and bend to shape the rest of the hook. And now we have Garland and 2 ornaments on the tree, but there are still heaps of Spider-Verse characters left. Who should I make an ornament of next? Let me know in the comments down below. And that's enough of me rambling on for today. If this is the first video of mine you've stumbled upon, I'd love to have you check out the other content on my channel so you can see if you might be interested in subscribing. And thanks for watching.